So yesterday we got our first unofficial looks at pretty much every single set that is going to be included in the LEGO Marvel Infinity Saga line, and that happened after nearly all these sets showed up on store shelves in a LEGO store in the UK. But now today we have official images of all of these sets, including the one we were missing, that being the Benatar. So this video is going to go a lot more in depth into each of these sets. I'm going to give my full opinions and what I think about each one. I know I made a few mistakes in my last video because I was looking at blurry images, but that's all going to be corrected here. Anyways, before we get into it, I did want to give a quick reminder that the giveaway for $100 worth of your choice of LEGO sets is still going on, so you could actually win a bunch of these sets that we're taking a look at today, excluding some of the more expensive ones like the Benatar, since that'll be over $100. But all these sets are really awesome and you could win them for free. All you got to do to enter is make sure you are subscribed to the channel, follow that link in the description, and sign in with your YouTube account. That's it, super simple and 100% free. Also, it turns out that less than 7% of you guys that are watching these videos are subscribed to the channel, so make sure you subscribe because it's free and you'll get a chance at winning some free LEGO sets. Anyways, enough about that. Let's go ahead and take our first official look at the LEGO Marvel Infinity Saga sets. Now, just so I don't have to repeat myself, every single one of these sets will be releasing on June 1st, which honestly isn't even that far away, and we already know that they're showing up on store shelves right now, so you might even be able to get them early. Anyways, the first one up here is 76191, the Infinity Gauntlet. This one should be retailing for $70 and include 590 pieces, and it's actually the only 18+ set in this entire wave. So looking at the actual set here, I think it looks far better than I thought it would. Now, due to the leaks, we actually knew the piece count and the price of the set, and after seeing the price count, I thought this thing was going to be way smaller and just wouldn't have any bulk to it at all. But after seeing it here, it just looks way larger than I thought it would be. Like, it looks nearly the size of a regular human hand, to be honest. I'm not sure if it's the shaping or the large bricks that are used, but it just looks very bulky, as it should, like it does in the movie. I think one of the most impressive parts about this set is the amount of painted gold bricks included here. Obviously, the entire set can't be made out of those bricks, so they do have to use some tan parts throughout, but for the most part, that gold really stands out where it needs to, and I think it looks absolutely great. The actual Infinity Stones themselves here are a little bit plain looking. I honestly thought they were going to use some special parts or something like that to make up the stones themselves, but apparently they're not, and just using some regular pieces just with different colors. And honestly, that's fine because it gets the look across. And we didn't get to see this yesterday because we didn't see this side of the box, but it turns out that you can actually recreate the snapping motion of the gauntlet just by moving the fingers around. And from this angle, it actually looks pretty decent. I wasn't expecting them to include this at all. I thought it was going to be a static glove, but this is what the Infinity Gauntlet is meant to do. That's the iconic thing, snapping it, so obviously they had to include it here. So it's almost like a play feature in a way. It just gives you another way to display this set, which definitely adds some value. Also, I gotta say, the box here does look pretty nice. The contrast between the gold of the glove and the slick black background there, it looks awesome. This 18+ packaging always looks pretty good, but it just looks even nicer than it usually does here. And we actually get a look at Thanos putting on the gauntlet from the MCU as well, which is great to see. But yeah, that is pretty much going to do it for the Infinity Gauntlet. You're going to be hearing me say this a lot throughout the video, but I will definitely be picking this one up, and I'd recommend you do so as well. It's just a really cool set, and there's honestly not that much to dislike about it. Alright, moving on here, we have set number 76186, the Black Panther Dragon Flyer. This is going to retail for $20 and include 202 pieces and 3 minifigures, that being the Black Panther, Shuri, and a Chitauri soldier. This is, I guess, the cheap set of this wave, and as a cheap set, I think it works very well. Usually $20 sets in LEGO are very inaccurate to what they're trying to portray. Like, those are pretty much the prices of battle packs, and you usually get a small build with a bunch of really nice minifigures. But here, this build is actually quite accurate to what it's trying to portray in the MCU, and that's a really nice thing because it gives the set value other than just the minifigures. The build itself here, the Dragonfire, really does look awesome. I do think it could have used some extra details on the wings there. They do look a little bit thin, but I am nitpicking it. Overall, it does capture the look of the vehicle. It also looks like that canopy is going to be a printed part, which is really nice to see at this price range. And now taking a look at the figures here, they all do look very awesome. This may be one of the best Black Panthers that we've ever gotten so far. The printing here is really awesome, all very accurate to what it looks like in the movie. The thing that I'm most glad about is they actually closed his eyes here. The last Black Panther that we got from the Black Panther movie actually has his eyes open, and that honestly kind of ruined the minifigure for me just because he doesn't do that in the movie that often. And also, in the last wave of Black Panther sets, his kinetic energy was done in a blue color, which is completely wrong, so they fixed that here. It is now in purple, as it should be. I kind of dislike having the kinetic energy on there at all though. I would like a plain Black Panther minifigure, but I'm really just nitpicking. Overall, it's still a cool fig, although the one big issue here is the fact that it doesn't include leg printing, which again, it does plague the entire LEGO Marvel superheroes theme. Like as you're about to see with this next minifigure, which also has great printing throughout and is super detailed, that being Shuri, she just doesn't have any leg printing, which really does suck because she definitely could have used some. Regardless though, I still like this minifigure. Her hairpiece looks awesome, the printing is super nice and detailed, and I also like that they included those two gauntlet blasting things. That is a piece that we've seen before, but it does work well for her weapons here. And the Chitauri soldier is different from the last version that we got with the Endgame sets, but is far more detailed, and I think it looks a lot more accurate to what it needs to look like from the films. It looks a lot more scary and realistic, which I think is a good thing. Some people may not like the fact that they changed the Chitauri soldier here, just because it's a minifigure that you probably want to have a lot of, and if they change it every couple of years, it's hard to get a consistent looking army of them, I guess. But at the end of the day, the Chitauri soldiers are pretty irrelevant compared to our actual heroes, so I'm pretty sure there won't be that many people that are losing sleep over the fact that their Chitauri soldiers won't look the same. Regardless, this is a cool set, and at 20 bucks, you really can't go wrong with picking this one up. Also, we do get a look at the back of the box here. They actually change up Thanos in the corner. He's actually in his LEGO form here, whereas in the front, he's in his MCU form. So that's pretty neat to see. And then we also get to see the Dragonflower kind of stood up in its parked position, I guess. It looks a little bit less detailed from this angle, probably doesn't look as good, but it doesn't really need to. This is not the position it'd normally be in. But yeah, still a great little set. And speaking of really nice small sets, the next one here, 76189, the Captain America and Hydra face-off, is a really great tiny set. This one is going to retail for $10 and include 49 pieces. It's part of the 4+ Juniors line, so the build is very simple, and that's perfectly fine because it's targeted at a much younger audience who is just getting started with LEGO and just learning how to build and whatnot. But for me, as an AFOL and a collector of LEGO sets, the real important thing here is the minifigures, obviously. The Hydra agent is cool and everything, but the important one here is Captain America in his Age of Ultron suit. Now, I'm not entirely 100% sure about this, but I always thought the Age of Ultron suit was the same suit that he wears in Civil War. If they're not the exact same, they are very similar at the least. So I always thought this was the Civil War suit, but I guess I was wrong on that because a lot of people were correcting me, telling me it's the Age of Ultron one. And I'm gonna be honest, for the longest time, I've been thinking they're the exact same suit. But I could be wrong, so if you do know, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. Anyways, this is a great Captain America minifigure. This is like his standard outfit that we see him wear pretty much in most of the MCU films. And the best part about this minifigure is the fact that he's using his new updated cowl piece. This is something that was introduced with the Endgame sets in 2019, but we never really got to see it used on the older Captain America minifigures. So the Age of Ultron Captain America minifigure that we currently have honestly looks quite dated. But now here's an updated one, and the print looks awesome, the cowl looks great, and this is just a great minifigure overall. But just like we talked about earlier, this minifigure, just like the rest of the LEGO Marvel minifigures, doesn't have any leg printing. You're going to be hearing me say this a lot throughout the video, but it just really sucks. They could have added a little bit of extra details of some knee pads or something. It would have just made this minifigure look so much better. If I could have it my way, I'd have this minifigure use dual molded legs. That way we actually get to see his brown boots to kind of match the brown gloves he wears as well. But yeah, it's still a cool minifigure even if it doesn't have the leg printing. We also get Captain America's shield here as well, and it's actually a little bit different from the last couple of versions of the shield that we've seen before. So when the shield was first introduced in LEGO, it was a red piece with white and blue printing on top. Then it became a silver piece with red, white, and blue printing on top. And now it looks like this is a black shield with red, white, and blue printing on top. And honestly, it does look fine. It does make the printing stand out and look a lot more crisp than it did on the red shield. So yeah, that's a very small and subtle change, but I think this is a brand new Captain America shield. And yeah, it's a great little set, and for $10, it's definitely worth it, especially just for that minifigure. Alright, next up here, we have set number 76190, the Iron Man Ironmonger Mayhem. This set is going to retail for $40 and include 479 pieces. It'll also include 3 minifigures, that being Iron Man in his Mark III armor, Pepper Potts, and Obadiah Stane. Also, I'm not sure about this, but I think this could be the first time that we've ever gotten Jeff Bridges in LEGO form, which is pretty cool to see. Now, I gotta be completely honest with you guys, I was really looking forward to this set, so I'm a little bit biased, but I have been completely let down. Like, I wouldn't say any of these sets in this wave are bad or anything, but if there was a worse one, it would definitely be this. Okay, let's start off with the good things first, that being the minifigures. Pepper Potts and Obadiah Stane look pretty nice. Their printing isn't too complex or anything, but they do look pretty detailed. Again, like we talked about earlier, no leg printing as usual. But one minifigure that does have leg printing here is the Iron Man Mark III armor. Now, as you guys know, I am a huge fan of the LEGO Iron Man suits. I actually collect every single one, so this set is a must-buy for me just because of the fact that this minifigure is even included. And this minifigure is pretty much perfect. Like, there really isn't much else that I'd want to make this minifigure better. The printing is super crisp and detailed, and it does use that newer method of using the lighter red print on the dark red torso. That way it kind of gives it this glossy effect. We've seen it only used on the recent LEGO Iron Man minifigures, but I'm glad to see it used on this really old Iron Man suit as well. I'm not sure what's going on with the gold on this minifigure, but it does seem to stand out more than usual. I don't think this is a new method of painting the helmet or anything. I think it just looks a little bit different in these images. But yeah, the Mark III armor is a little bit simple compared to some of the other suits, so it doesn't need to be anything too over the top, and LEGO just does a great job with it. They even included toe printing, which is great to see. And on top of that, you get a whole bunch of accessories for his arc blast and whatnot, and they even include Tony Stark's hairpiece as well. So yeah, the minifigures are really awesome in this set, and if that's what you're after, then you really won't be disappointed. But now let's talk about the actual disappointment here, that being the set itself. Alright, so ever since the 2008 Iron Man movie came out, I have always imagined how I'd want this Ironmonger to be represented in LEGO. And I gotta be completely honest, this looks nothing like I imagined it to be. And I think this is a bigger problem with LEGO mechs as a whole, but they're always really oversized, but this one is just on a whole nother level. When we first heard about this set, I thought it was gonna be similar in size to the first Hulkbuster that we got in the Age of Ultron sets. Yes, that Hulkbuster is really large, way larger than it needs to be, but at the end of the day, it does need to actually fit the minifigure inside of it and still be safe enough to play with for kids. Like, I know there are tons of these mock makers out there that can make these really nice Hulkbuster suits that can actually fit a minifigure while also being in scale with big figs. And that's honestly asking too much of the designers, because at the end of the day, a kid needs to be able to play with these sets, and you just couldn't do that with those mocks. But come on, LEGO, this is overkill. I think what was going on here was that they needed to hit a price point, so they just started making this thing bigger and bigger, and now it looks like this. Like, in reality, the Ironmonger is at most double the height of the Iron Man suit. But just compare this Ironmonger's leg alone to the Iron Man minifigure, it's just way too big. I do like the face print here for it, that looks pretty nice. But it also looks like this set will be using a bunch of stickers as well, as we can see on these shoulders there. And it looks like the helmet of this set won't even actually completely close down. Like, you can actually see some of the interior of where Obadiah Stane would be sitting there. So that's kind of unfortunate. But there is some good with this build here. I do like the amount of gunmetal gray parts that are used. I wish the entire minifigure could be done in gunmetal gray, but obviously that's a little bit unrealistic. But still, there are quite a few gunmetal gray pieces here, which is pretty nice to see. Also, I like the use of those hydraulic pieces on his shoulders and legs as well. That's really accurate to the movie. And while I'm trying to find nice things to say about this set, at the end of the day, it just doesn't look nice to me. But I will still be buying it just because I need those minifigures. So I don't think it's a bad set or anything, I just wanted it to be so much better. This is the set that I was looking forward to the most, so maybe I overhyped it and just kind of ruined it for myself. Anyways, let's get on to the next set here, and this is the one that I think most of you guys will be picking up. This is 76192, the Avengers Endgame Final Battle. If you told me 2 years ago after Endgame came out that we would be receiving a remake of the Endgame Final Battle set, only done in a much more accurate way, I would have never believed that, because LEGO just never used to revisit older MCU films. But here we are, we have the climax of the Marvel Cinematic Universe represented in LEGO form. This set is going to retail for $90 and include 527 pieces, which, yes, I know it sounds quite expensive, but it does include 8 minifigures, that being Ant-Man as a microfigure, Captain America, Iron Man in his Mark 85 suit, Thor with long hair, Scarlet Witch, Black Panther, a Chitauri soldier, and Thanos as a big fig without his helmet. So there is a lot of really desirable stuff here. Still, $90 seems a little bit steep. I think $70 or even $80 would have been fine. $90 is pushing it, but at the end of the day, this is a set that pretty much any LEGO Marvel fan would want. So I think a lot of people are going to pick it up even if it's a bad deal. Now, because this set is all about the minifigures, let's start with those. Okay, so first up here we have Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch. She wouldn't have been called the Scarlet Witch at this point in the canon, but that's what the minifigure is called. And I gotta be completely honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with this minifigure. I honestly think the one that we got with these Civil War sets is a better figure overall. I'm pretty sure her suit didn't didn't change between those two movies, so those minifigures are pretty much representing the exact same form of the character, and this one just looks so much less like Elizabeth Olsen. First of all, I do think the hairpiece here is wrong. I would have liked to see the hairpiece that they used on the Civil War minifigure, but I think that minifigure had it wrong too. I would have liked to see the hair color be slightly lighter. Like the dark brown here is a little bit too dark, and it just doesn't look like Elizabeth Olsen to me. The printing on the other hand is great, the torso looks awesome, and so does the face. Obviously, again, like with all the other minifigures, there is no leg printing, which really sucks to see. But I think the big issue with this minifigure that the Civil War minifigure actually fixed was the fact that she doesn't have a waist cape. Like in the movies, her suit actually has like that flowing trench coat thing. I'm not sure what you call that, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyways, the Civil War minifigure does represent that here in Lego form, but this minifigure here just doesn't, and that's honestly kind of a key part of getting the look of this character across. So that really is a shame because they didn't include any leg printing, and then on top of that they took away the cloth piece. So overall, this minifigure is kind of a downgrade from the last version that we got. Also, I'm not sure what's going on with the official images here, but her blasts and stuff do look way too purple or pink rather than red like they should be. I'm not sure why they don't just use a trans red piece for that, because that's pretty much how it looks in the movie. She uses a bunch of red energy and stuff. So I'm not sure why they didn't go with trans red instead of this trans purple or pink. So Scarlet Witch is a little bit disappointing to me. Next up here we have Captain America in his Endgame suit, and if you guys have seen my top 10 best Lego Captain America video, then you know I absolutely love this minifigure. The MCU Captain America suits have always been my favorite to see in Lego form, but there was always that issue of not using the cowl. But now that's been solved this year, and the Endgame suit is my personal favorite Captain America suit. So because of that, this minifigure looks outstanding. Prints are super detailed just as they need to be. It is a shame there is no dual molded legs. That would have made this minifigure perfect. Then he is also obviously using Mjolnir here as well, which is great to see. I've always wanted Lego to mold Mjolnir in silver plastic instead of the gray, but I guess they're not going to be doing that. Anyways, it does look like he's using that new style of shield that we also talked about with the 4+ set. But yeah, Captain America looks awesome as usual, and he does also include a hairpiece, so you can have him look like Chris Evans as well. So this is a great minifigure, but it's actually not my favorite minifigure in this set. That has got to go to Iron Man in his Mark 85 armor. Now, my opinion of this minifigure could change depending on what it looks like in real life, but based on these images, it does look like he will be using some painted, almost chrome-like gold arms. Now, I'm really just speculating on that. It just does look a lot shinier than I thought it would, so I could be wrong. Maybe it's the exact same as we saw with the last Mark 85 suit, but if it isn't, if this is actually a new painted arm that matches the gold on the legs, then this may just be one of my favorite Lego Iron Man suits ever made. The printing does look pretty similar to the last version of the Mark 85 suit that we got. I'm not sure if they're entirely the same, but if they aren't, they are very similar. My main issue with that minifigure was just how weird the pearl gold arms looked, but if they solve that here, I think this minifigure would look absolutely perfect. He does also get his shield that we actually see him use in the movie, and that's a great addition because Iron Man typically doesn't have too many accessories. And overall, it's just a really great Iron Man suit. We also get an Endgame Thor here with his long hair. I think this minifigure looks great. Again, I think he could have used some leg printing, but Thor honestly doesn't have too much details on his legs, so I guess that's fine for this figure. But yeah, this is kind of exactly what you'd want out of this minifigure. He also has Stormbreaker here, which is great to see, and I'm just glad they included the big three in this set, that being Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. Next up, we have the same Black Panther minifigure that we talked about earlier. He's also included in that $20 Dragon Flyer set. I actually would have liked to see Hawkeye or maybe another Avenger in this set, just because it is $90, and for that price, you probably should be getting some exclusive figures. We also get a micro figure of Ant-Man who looks great as usual. I actually didn't even notice him the first time that I looked at this set, so that was pretty ironic, but he looks great as well. And the big important thing to come out of this set is the new big figure of Thanos. So this is the first time that we're going to be getting a big fig that can actually rotate and even remove its head. Like, the big fig is finally starting to feel like a larger version of the Lego minifigure. I'm glad they finally introduced this here because I was kind of sick of getting that Thanos with the helmet piece stuck on him, because he just doesn't wear it in the movie that often, and his bald look is super iconic. Now, most of the printing on this minifigure does look great. The torso and the legs, all the gold looks really nice, but the face print just looks a little bit off to me. Like, I'm not sure what it is, but it just looks a little bit too comical. I'm not sure if it's the way they printed the eyes or something, it just doesn't really capture the look of Thanos. But even with that, it's still a very accurate looking Thanos Big Fig, and it's definitely a step in the right direction for Big Figs as a whole. We also get the same Chitauri soldiers that we saw in that $20 Black Panther set as well, and the actual build here itself is completely different than the last version that we got. The headquarters is much smaller, which is nicer to see. I do like that they included that small section to actually build up the nano gauntlet. They also give you a little prison to hold Thanos, which I guess is nice, and then those two pieces of Captain Marvel and Rocket are really cool additions as well. The build isn't anything too special, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really need to be. One thing that I thought was a little bit weird was the way that they included the exact same turret that we saw in the last version of this set. Like the Avengers Headquarters that we got in 2019 had this exact same build for a turret. So I'm not sure if that was an Easter egg or maybe it was some lazy design. But regardless, I think the coolest part about this set has got to be the ugly brown van. This thing is super iconic, and we do get the Quantum Realm portal thing in the back as well. And they actually include stickers for the XCon logo on the side of the truck, so that's pretty neat. But yeah, I'm glad they included the brown van because it's actually pretty important in this entire scene. And yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this set. It's really awesome. Just like the other sets, I'm definitely going to be picking this one up. And now let's get on to our final set here, the set that we didn't get a look at yesterday, that being set number 76193, the Guardians ship. So I guess the official name is not the Benatar, which is what the name of the vehicle is. Honestly, I think that may be a good idea because every single time I did say Benatar, everybody was saying, what even is that? So I actually had to remind them it's the ship that the Guardians of the Galaxy use. I don't actually think they ever call it the Benatar in the movies. It's just not as iconic as the Milano was. We actually do hear that name Milano a lot in the Guardians films, but I don't think the name Benatar ever really came up. I could be wrong on that. If you guys do know, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. But regardless, let's get the details of this set out of the way first. So this set is going to retail for $150 and include 1,901 pieces. So as price per part ratios go, that is a great deal. We also get 6 minifigures in this set, that being Star-Lord, a Teenager Groot, Rocket Raccoon, Thor with long hair, Mantis, and a Chitauri soldier. Now before we go ahead and take a look at this amazing build, let's get the minifigures out of the way. So Rocket does have a new outfit here that he uses in Endgame. I think the real important thing for this minifigure is the fact that they got rid of his shoulder pads. That always used to restrict his movement, like you couldn't turn Rocket Raccoon's head, but now you can because he doesn't actually have those shoulder pads there. So that's a pretty nice thing to see. He does also come with a pretty unique looking gun there as well, which is perfect for his character. Next up we have Teenage Groot, and this Groot is a little bit different because it uses a lighter brown instead of the dark brown that we got last time. And I'm gonna be honest, I think it's actually a step in the right direction. I think the dark brown actually hid a lot of the details and just didn't make him look like a tree, but this one here definitely does. So I'm actually glad they changed things up there. And another nice thing is this minifigure has leg printing, and he actually has toe printing on top of that as well. So as LEGO Marvel standards go, this is a very detailed minifigure. Next up we have Mantis, and she honestly looks quite similar to the last version of Mantis that we got. I'm assuming this minifigure is different, at least she really should be different, but she still looks pretty decent. Again, no leg printing, but I wasn't really expecting any to begin with. And she's super hilarious in the movie, so I'm glad to get her here as well. And now this is where things kind of get weird. We just looked at Mantis, right? But now we have Thor. And Thor is not a Guardian. I know the Guardians will be showing up in Thor 4 and everything, and he does hang out with the Guardians quite a bit in Infinity War. But this is Thor from Endgame, and he just doesn't chill with the Guardians all that much, aside from Rocket. So I'm not sure why he's actually included in this set, and he's also using the outfit that he wears in the Endgame final battle. And I don't think he ever used that while being on the ship, so I'm not really sure why this minifigure is included in here. Also, I'm not even sure if this minifigure is exclusive to the set, because in some images he actually does have these skin tone arms, but then in other images he has the black arms like he does in the Endgame final battle. So which one is it, LEGO? Is this minifigure exclusive or is it not? Either way, I don't think this minifigure should have been included in this set, and we'll talk about why in a second. Anyways, we do get the leader of the Guardians here, that being Star-Lord. This is actually a great minifigure. I like the printing, the hairpiece, and I've always liked the Star-Lord minifigure because it just captures the look of Chris Pratt so well. Like when it comes to capturing the look of the actors that these LEGO minifigures are portraying, I think this is one of the best at doing that. Anyways, the torso print looks great. Also, his elemental blasters are in a lighter mold here instead of the gunmetal gray. Not sure how I feel about that. I thought they looked pretty decent in the gunmetal gray. But then a really cool thing here is that this minifigure has dual molded legs. So here I am complaining about how LEGO Marvel minifigures have no leg detail, and now this one has dual molded legs, and that's absolutely awesome to see. But that still doesn't excuse the fact that all of these other minifigures have no leg details. Anyways, the last minifigure here is the Chitauri Soldier, and I'm honestly not even sure why they included this figure. Like, did they just want to include a bad guy so you have something to fight against or something? Because I'm not sure how this Chitauri Soldier is supposed to take on this entire ship. But either way, the reason that it kind of sucks that they included Thor and a Chitauri Soldier is because this is kind of like the definitive Guardians of the Galaxy set. It's done in this very rare Ultimate Collector Series style with the stand and all of that stuff. And it's a very large and detailed set that has absolutely everything to do with the Guardians of the Galaxy, yet we only get 4 of them in this set. And the 2 missing ones are actually some of the most important, that being Gamora and Drax. Gamora died, so I guess it's okay to not include her, but why isn't Drax in this set and a Chitauri Soldier is? That just seems kind of dumb to me. Like, I didn't want a new minifigure or anything, it could have just been the exact same one that we got before. Just include him in this set though, because he really does need to be here. It just feels weird because this is supposed to be the Guardians ship, yet we're missing some of the Guardians. So not entirely sure how I feel about that, but the best part about this set is not the minifigures but the set itself, and it absolutely kills it in that department. Now, we actually got this exact same ship in the Infinity War wave a few years ago, but with that one you actually had to buy that set and then buy a smaller set and then combine them together to make the entire ship. And those sets weren't bad or anything, it just didn't look nearly as accurate as this. Like, this is a proper display model, like a UCS type of set. It just has so much detail and packs in all these pieces, similar to what we see in the LEGO Star Wars theme with their Ultimate Collector Series line. But I absolutely love this set, and I'm definitely going to be picking this one up, just like I'm going to be picking up every other set in this wave. And I gotta be honest, after seeing official images of it here, I think this has got to be my favorite set in this wave. I like minifigures as much as the next guy, so the Endgame final battle is quite enticing, but if I had to pick one set from this entire wave, I think it'd have to be this. Now, we don't get that good of a look here, but it does look like the interior of the ship is quite roomy as well. I'm not sure if you'll be able to fit every single member of the Guardians of the Galaxy here, but then again, this set didn't include every single member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Either way, I do think it's as large as it needs to be. It's not minifig scale or anything, but it still looks awesome. And also, it does look like that stand is going to allow you to pose the sets in different ways. Like, I think you can actually rotate it. And honestly, they didn't have to include that because it's just a stand, but I'm glad they did. But yeah, there's your look at the Benatar, and that is pretty much going to do it for every single LEGO Marvel Infinity Saga set. Now, there is still one more set that is yet to be seen, that being the Sanctuary 2. We do know this set is coming. We have seen a few leaks here and there. That one is set number 76200. It's supposed to retail for $30 and included 265 pieces. There were some other rumors saying this was a 4+ junior set, but I'm not sure how valid those are. The Sanctuary 2 is Thanos' ship, so obviously it should be quite large, but at 265 pieces, I'm not sure how big they could actually make it. Either way, I have seen leaked images of the Captain Marvel minifigure that will be included in that set. It's actually the Captain Marvel that we see in Endgame in her updated suit. That's my favorite version of Captain Marvel by far. I think her suit looks the best there. So I'm glad they're including that minifigure because she also has her short hair, which looks awesome. But other than that, that's pretty much going to do it for all the Infinity Saga sets. We will also eventually see sets like the Marvel Advent Calendar, the Disney Plus collectible minifigure series, and the Spider-Man No Way Home sets. So there's still a lot more to come out this year, and as that news rolls out, I will definitely be covering it for all of you guys. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of that. But I think that's pretty much going to do it for this breakdown of the Infinity Saga line. Make sure to let me know what you guys think about all of these sets down in the comments below. Which ones are you planning to pick up? And also, if you had to pick one favorite from this wave, which one would it be? As you guys know, mine has got to be the Benatar. It just looks so nice, and I can't wait to get all of these in my hands. Also, if you guys haven't had a chance to enter the giveaway, make sure to do so. But that will pretty much do it for me. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.